The scream pierced through the mansion's third floor like a blade cutting through silk. Zara's hands froze over the laundry she'd been folding, her heart lurching into her throat. That was Minji's voice, terrified, desperate. Without thinking, she dropped the sheets and ran, her worn sneakers pounding against the marble hallway. She burst through the door to find Minji clutching her little brother Dae-hyun, both children backing away from Lee Hee-jin, who stood with a crystal vase raised high above her head. The woman's perfectly made-up face was twisted with rage, all pretense of the loving stepmother-to-be completely shattered. "You little brats ruined my dress," Hee-jin shrieked, her designer gown stained with what looked like juice. "Stop!" Zara threw herself between the children and the vase, feeling the impact as it shattered against her shoulder instead. Pain exploded through her arm, but she didn't move, keeping her body as a shield. "Run to the garden. Find Jin. Now." The children didn't hesitate. As their footsteps faded down the hallway, Zara faced the woman who was supposed to marry their father in 2 weeks, and saw nothing but cold calculation in those eyes, the look of someone who'd been caught but wasn't finished yet. 3 weeks earlier, Zara Thompson had stood at the iron gates of the Park estate in Westchester County, staring up at a mansion that looked like it had been transplanted directly from a Korean drama. Her practical side, the one that had kept her and her late mother afloat through years of struggle, told her this job was too good to be true. The ad had promised exceptional pay, private quarters, and benefits that seemed almost fictional for domestic work, but her bank account, stretched thin after her mother's medical bills, didn't care about suspicions. The head housekeeper, Mrs. Chen, was a brisk woman in her 60s who evaluated Zara with sharp eyes. "Mr. Park values discretion above all else," she said, leading Zara through halls decorated with an intriguing mix of modern art and traditional Korean pieces. "He's a businessman with complex interests. You'll care for the household, particularly the children's wing. Their mother passed 2 years ago." Zara's heart clenched. The poor babies. "They're resilient, but they need stability." Mrs. Chen stopped at a door. "Mr. Park is often away on business. His fiancée, Miss Lee, handles much of the household management now." The way she said fiancé carried a weight Zara couldn't quite interpret. That first week, Zara fell into a rhythm. The mansion was enormous, but her duties centered around the children's floor, keeping their rooms immaculate, managing their laundry, preparing their school lunches. 8-year-old Minji was a serious child with her father's intense eyes, while 6-year-old Dae-hyun was a ball of chaotic energy who left a trail of toys and laughter wherever he went. She rarely saw Mr. Park, just glimpses of a tall man in expensive suits coming and going at odd hours. But she saw plenty of Lee Hee-jin. The woman was stunning in that calculated way that came from expensive procedures and designer everything. She smiled for the staff, played the devoted, almost stepmother when Mrs. Chen was around, but Zara noticed things. The way Hye-jin's eyes went cold when she looked at the children when she thought no one was watching, the barely concealed impatience when Minji asked her a question, the dismissive tone she used with Dae-hyun. "These children need discipline," Hye-jin announced one afternoon, her voice echoing in the pristine kitchen where Zara was preparing the kids' snacks. "They're wild." "Spoiled?" Zara kept her expression neutral as she cut apple slices. "They're just being kids, Mom. You're new here. You don't understand." Hye-jin's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Once I'm Mrs. Park, things will change significantly." The threat hung in the air long after she left. It was the second week when Zara met Jin. She'd been in the garden with the children. Minji had discovered a butterfly and wanted to follow it, while Dae-hyun was more interested in the koi pond. Zara was trying to keep both of them from their respective disasters when a deep voice spoke behind her. "The orange ones are his favorites. Dae-hyun's, I mean." She turned to find a man in worn jeans and a simple t-shirt, dirt smudged on his forearms, holding gardening shears. He was Korean, probably mid-30s, with black hair that fell slightly into his eyes and a face that would have been striking if not for the deliberate ordinariness of his posture and clothes. "You're the new gardener?" she asked. "Jin started last week." His accent carried a hint of soul, softened by time. "You're Zara, right? The kids mentioned you. All good things, I hope." Something flickered in his dark eyes. Amusement, maybe. "Minji says you make the best grilled cheese sandwiches in the universe. That's high praise." Despite herself, Zara smiled. There was something immediately comfortable about him, a lack of pretension that was refreshing after dealing with Hye-jin's calculated perfection. Over the following days, she found herself running into Jin often. He always seemed to be working near wherever the children played, close enough to help when Dae-hyun inevitably got into some minor catastrophe, far enough to seem coincidental. "Do you have kids?" she asked him one afternoon, watching how naturally he showed Minji the proper way to hold a butterfly without hurting it. "No, never married." His eyes stayed on the little girl's delighted face. "But I understand the importance of protecting innocent things." The intensity in his voice made her look at him more carefully. For just a moment his entire demeanor shifted. The slouch disappeared, his jaw tightened, and she saw something dangerous flash across his features before he caught himself and smiled that easy, gardener's smile again. "What about you?" he asked. "No family. My mom passed 6 months ago. Cancer." The words still hurt. "It's just me now. I'm sorry." And he sounded like he genuinely meant it. "She raised a good daughter." "She raised a strong one," Zara corrected. Good was her department. Strong was necessity. Jin studied her with those dark, intense eyes. Strength is its own kind of goodness. Their conversations became a highlight of her days. Jin was educated. She could tell by the way he spoke when he forgot to play down his intelligence. He knew art, literature, even quoted Korean poetry once while they were both watching the sunset from the garden. "A gardener who reads classical poetry?" she teased. "A maid who recognizes it?" he countered, smiling. But it was his relationship with the children that truly caught her attention. Minji, who was reserved with most adults, bloomed around Jin. She showed him her drawings, asked him about plants and bugs and everything in between. Dae-hyun followed him around like a puppy, chattering constantly, and Jin listened with genuine attention. "You're really good with them," Zara observed one evening, watching Jin patiently help Dae-hyun build a small rock garden. "They deserve someone who pays attention." His voice held an edge. "Not everyone in this house does." "You mean Miss Lee?" Jin's hands stilled on the rocks. "What do you think of her?" Zara chose her words carefully. "I think she's very beautiful and very ambitious." "And the children?" "I think they're afraid of her. They try to hide it. But Minji gets this look when Haya Jin comes into a room, like she's bracing for something." Zara met his eyes. "Why are you really asking me this, Jin?" For a long moment he didn't answer. Then, "Because I think you see things clearly, and because those kids need someone who does." That night, Zara lay awake in her small but comfortable room, thinking about the gardener with the poet's soul and the way he looked at the park children, like he'd die before letting anything happen to them. She had no idea she was absolutely right. The incident happened on a Thursday. Zara had been cleaning the main hallway when she heard Hyejin's voice, sharp and cruel, coming from the children's playroom. "I said no snacks before dinner, you little pig." Then came the sound of something hitting the floor and Dae-hyun's tears. Zara dropped her cleaning supplies and moved. She found the 6-year-old on the floor, his favorite snack crackers scattered around him, a red mark blooming on his cheek. Hyejin stood over him, hands still raised, her face twisted with an anger that seemed disproportionate to a child wanting crackers. "What did you do?" Zara demanded, putting herself between them. "Discipline. Something clearly lacking in this household." Hyejin's eyes were ice. "You forget your place, Maid. My place is protecting these children. Your place is whatever I say it is." Hyejin smiled, cruel and confident. "I'm about to become mistress of this house. Fire you, your little gardener friend, anyone I choose. So I suggest you remember who has the power here." She swept out, leaving Zara kneeling beside a sobbing 6-year-old. "It's okay, baby," Zara whispered, gathering him close. "You're okay. I've got you." "I want my daddy," Dae-hyun hiccuped. "But he's always gone, and she's always here." "Zara?" Minji stood in the doorway, her young face too old, too understanding. "Is she going to be our new mom?" The fear in that question broke Zara's heart. She found Jin in the garden attacking the hedges with an intensity that seemed excessive for simple gardening. He took one look at her face and set down his shears. "What happened?" she told him. As she spoke, she watched his entire body go rigid, his hands clenching into fists. For a moment, the mask of the humble gardener completely fell away, and she saw something that made her breath catch. Pure, focused rage, controlled but barely. "Jin?" she asked carefully. "Who are you really?" He closed his eyes, seemed to be wrestling with something. When he opened them again, some decision had been made. "Walk with me." They moved deeper into the garden, far from any windows or ears. Jin's entire bearing had changed. The slouch was gone, replaced by a posture of command that transformed him completely. "My real name is Park Ji-hoon," he said quietly. "This is my house. Those are my children." Zara stopped walking. "What?" "Haya Jin is my fiancée, arranged by my family for business reasons. I've been suspicious of her for weeks, The way my children flinched around her, reports from my security team about her behavior when I'm gone. So I did something unconventional. His smile was bitter. I hired a replacement, someone who looks enough like me from a distance to play Park Ji-hoon while I went undercover in my own home. As a gardener, as someone invisible, someone who could watch, protect. He turned to face her fully. I needed to know the truth before I married a woman who might hurt my kids, and now I know. Zara's mind raced. The business trips, that's been your double. Yes, and I've been here, watching everything. His dark eyes were intense, including you. The way you care for Minji and Daehyun, the way you see through Hae-jin's act. You're the only staff member who's truly protected them. What are you going to do? End the engagement. Remove her from my house and my life. His jaw tightened. But I need evidence that will satisfy my family's council. They arranged this marriage for political alliance. Breaking it requires proof of her unworthiness. So you need to catch her doing something they can't ignore. Exactly. And I think it's coming soon. She's getting more careless, more confident. Ji-hoon, because that's who he really was, stepped closer. Zara, I need to ask you something, and you can say no. But will you help me? Will you keep watching over my children while I gather what I need? She should have been angry about the deception, should have been unsettled by the revelation that the humble gardener was actually a powerful man playing games in his own house. But all she could think about was Daehyun's tears and Minji's fear. What kind of businessman are you exactly, Mr. Park? He held her gaze. The kind whose business you probably don't want to know about. The kind who has enemies and makes deals that would horrify decent people like you. His voice softened. The kind who would burn the world down for his children. Are you dangerous? Very. But never to you. Never to them. Zara thought about her mother, who'd always told her to trust her instincts about people. Every instinct she had said that Ji-hoon, despite whatever darkness he carried, loved his children with a ferocity that was almost frightening in its intensity. Okay, she said, I'll help, but the moment this puts those kids in more danger, I'm out. Something like relief flashed across his face. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You still have to explain why a mafia boss, because that's what you are, right, needs to play dress-up in his own house instead of just throwing her out. The corner of his mouth twitched. You're very perceptive. I'm very protective. There's a difference. Not as much as you think. He pulled out his phone, definitely not a cheap gardener's phone, and showed her something. This is what I'm dealing with. The photos showed Hee-jin meeting with men in expensive suits, exchanging envelopes, looking at documents. In one, she was clearly arguing with someone, her face twisted with an ambition that looked almost manic. She's not just cruel, Ji-hoon explained. She's working with my rivals. The marriage was supposed to unite our organizations, but she's actually positioning herself to betray us both. She wants power, and she's willing to use my children as leverage or eliminate them as obstacles. Zara's blood went cold. You think she'd actually hurt them? I think she'd do whatever serves her ambition. That's why I can't just end this. I need to expose her to both families simultaneously, or there'll be a war, and my children would be caught in the crossfire. So what's the plan? The engagement party is in 1 week. Both families will be there, along with key allies. If I can get her to reveal herself then, in front of everyone. He trailed off. But I need to keep the kids safe until then. That's where you come in. I'm already doing that. No, I mean really safe. Zara, from this moment forward, you don't let them out of your sight when I'm not there. Not for anything. If Ye-jin tries something, I'll handle it. She said it with more confidence than she felt. But Mr. Park, Ji-hoon, please. The intimacy of his real name on her lips felt strange, significant. Ji-hoon. What happens after? Once you expose her and end this. He was quiet for a long moment, studying her face like he was memorizing it. I don't know, but I know my children need stability. Someone they trust. Someone who actually sees them as people, not pawns. They need their father. They need that too. Maybe it's time I learn to be both the man who protects them and the father who's actually present. His voice roughened. I've been so focused on keeping them safe from external threats, I didn't see the one I was bringing into our home. Zara's heart twisted at the pain in his voice. Without thinking, she reached out and touched his arm. You didn't know, and you're fixing it. That's what matters. The contact seemed to freeze them both. Ji-hoon looked down at her hand on his forearm, then back up at her face, and something shifted in his expression, a heat that had nothing to do with anger. Zara, he said, his voice dropping lower, you should know something else. What? These past 2 weeks watching you with my kids, seeing your strength, your kindness, He stopped, seeming to struggle with the words. This isn't just about protection anymore. Not entirely. Her pulse kicked up. What do you mean? I mean you've gotten under my skin in a way no one has since my wife died. I mean I find myself looking for excuses to be wherever you are. He cut himself off, jaw tightening. But now isn't the time for this. First I handle Hyejin, Then? She prompted, her voice barely a whisper. Then maybe I can ask you properly if you'd consider staying. Not as a maid, as something else. Someone important to me and my children. Before Zara could respond, Minji's voice called from the house. Jin! Zara, where are you? They stepped apart quickly, but something had fundamentally shifted between them. As they walked back toward the house, toward the children and the dangerous game they'd be playing for the next week, Zara realized with startling clarity that she'd do anything to protect this broken little family, even if it meant facing down a woman who'd proven she was willing to hurt children to get what she wanted. The next few days were a masterclass in tension. Hyejin seemed to sense something had changed. She watched Zara with cold calculation, finding excuses to separate her from the children, criticizing her work, making thinly veiled threats about her future employment. I've been reviewing the household budget, Hyejin announced one morning, cornering Zara in the kitchen. We have far too many staff. Once the wedding happens, cuts will be necessary. That's Mr. Park's decision, not yours. Ji-hoon defers to me on household matters. The lie was smooth. He's far too busy with his business interests to worry about domestic stuff. You'd be wise to make yourself indispensable in the next few days. But Zara had seen the reports Ji-hoon showed her each night during their secret meetings in the garden. Hyejin was escalating, meeting more frequently with his rivals, discussing terms that would give her control of the Park organization's legitimate businesses while leaving Ji-hoon with only the criminal elements, making him vulnerable to law enforcement while she looked clean. She's planning to destroy you, Zara said during one of these meetings, watching Ji-hoon study photographs of Hyejin's latest clandestine meeting. She's planning to try. His voice was ice. But I've been playing this game longer than she's been alive. Zara studied him in the moonlight. This man who was somehow both the gentle Jin who helped her carry groceries and the dangerous Park Ji-hoon who commanded a criminal empire. The dichotomy should have terrified her. Instead, she found herself drawn to both versions, seeing how they were really just different facets of the same complicated person. Tell me about your wife, she said softly. Ji-hoon looked up, surprised. Hana, if I'm going to be part of your children's lives, in whatever capacity, I should know about the woman who gave them life. He was quiet for so long, she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, Hana was kind, gentle. She knew what I was when she married me, but she believed I could be better. She made me want to be. His voice roughened. She died in a car accident, but it wasn't an accident. It was a message from a rival organization. Oh, Ji-hoon. I destroyed them. Completely. Made sure no one would ever dare threaten my family again. He met her eyes. That's who I am, Zara. I'm not a good man. I've done terrible things. Will probably do more. The only purely good things in my life are my children. And you love them completely. That counts for something. Does it? The vulnerability in his question gutted her. Minji still has nightmares. Dae-hyun barely remembers his mother. I've given them everything except what they need most. Safety. A normal life. Normal is overrated. Safety we can work on. She moved closer, emboldened by the darkness and the intimacy of these stolen moments. And they have you. That's not nothing. They'll have you too, if you stay. Are you asking me to stay? Ji-hoon reached out, his fingers brushing her cheek with a gentleness that seemed at odds with everything she knew he was capable of. I'm saying that in the middle of this nightmare, you've become something I didn't expect. Something I wasn't looking for. And my children adore you. Minji told me yesterday that you make her feel safe. Do you know what that means to me? Zara's breath caught. Ji-hoon. I know the timing is terrible. I know I have no right to feel this when I'm engaged to another woman, even if that engagement is a strategic disaster. But I need you to know. He stopped, seeming to struggle with something. When this is over, I want to do this right. Court you properly. Let you decide if you can accept all of me, not just the parts I show the world. Before she could respond, both their phones buzzed simultaneously. Ji-hoon's face went hard as stone as he read the message. What is it? Hyejin just purchased 2 one-way tickets to Seoul, for her and Dae-hyun, leaving the day after the engagement party. Zara's heart stopped. She's planning to kidnap him. Not if I end this first. Ji-hoon's voice had gone cold, deadly. The engagement party is in 3 days. We need to accelerate the timeline. The next morning, Zara found Minji crying in her bedroom. Baby, what's wrong? Miss Hye-jin said Dae-hyun is going to go away soon. That I'll have to be a big girl and not cry about it. The 8-year-old looked up with devastated eyes. Is she taking my brother? Zara gathered the child close, fury building in her chest. No, sweetheart. That's not going to happen. I promise you. How do you know? Because your daddy won't let it, and neither will I. I miss when it was just us and daddy. Before her, Minji's small voice was muffled against Zara's shoulder. Jin says we should trust that things will get better. Do you think he's right? Jin is very smart, and he cares about you very much. Do you like him? Jin, I mean. Minji pulled back, studying Zara with those 2 old eyes. You smile different when he's around. Zara felt heat creep up her neck. He's a good friend. Daddy needs a good friend too. Someone who's nice, not scary like Miss Hye-jin. Minji bit her lip. Can I tell you a secret? Always. Sometimes I pretend you're my mom. Is that bad? Tears burned Zara's eyes. Oh, baby, no. That's not bad at all. That's really special. Good. Because I prayed for a new mom, and then you came. Maybe God sent you. That evening, Ji-hoon found Zara in the garden. She was sitting on a bench, trying to process Minji's words, the weight of what they were about to do, the impossibility of the feelings growing between her and a man she'd known for less than 3 weeks. Minji told me about her prayers, he said, sitting beside her, about how she wishes you were her mother. She told you that? She tells me everything, eventually. He turned to face her. Zara, I need to say something before the engagement party, before everything potentially goes to hell. Okay, if something happens to me, don't. She grabbed his hand. Don't say that. I have to. If something happens, there are provisions. You and the children will be protected, financially secure. But more than that, he brought her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles gently. I need you to know that you've changed everything. In 3 weeks, you've reminded me what it means to feel something real, something that has nothing to do with power or strategy or survival. You've made me want things I thought I'd buried with Hana. Ji-hoon, let me finish, please. His dark eyes were intense, almost desperate. I'm falling in love with you, Zara Thompson. Maybe I already have fallen, and I know it's fast. I know it's complicated, but I don't care. When this is over, I want to see where this goes. I want to wake up and have breakfast with you and my children. I want to hear you laugh at my terrible jokes. I want to watch you turn my house into a home. Zara's heart was thundering. You barely know me. I know you're brave. I know you put my children before your own safety. I know you see me, all of me, and you haven't run away yet. He cupped her face with both hands. I know that when you smile at me, I feel like maybe I'm not just the monster I've become. You're not a monster. You're a man trying to protect his family. You see? That's what I mean. You make me believe I can be better. Zara leaned into his touch, her own hands coming up to cover his. I'm scared. Of me. Of this. Of how much I already care. Of what happens if we can't stop her. She took a shaky breath. But I'm more scared of not trying. My mama always said life's too short for maybes and what-ifs. So yeah, when this is over, let's see where this goes. Ji-hoon's smile was devastating in its genuine happiness. Then his expression shifted, became something darker, more intense. Can I kiss you? I've been wanting to since the day you told Hye-jin off. Yes. He kissed her like a man drowning, like she was air and salvation and everything he'd been searching for. It was gentle and desperate and perfect, and when they finally broke apart, Zara knew with absolute certainty that she was in too deep to ever climb back out. 3 more days, Ji-hoon murmured against her lips. Then this nightmare ends. But 3 days felt like an eternity when a monster was circling your family. The engagement party was everything you'd expect from a union between 2 powerful Korean families, opulent, traditional, and hiding an undercurrent of tension that you could cut with a knife. Zara had been given a server's uniform for the evening, a way to stay close to the children while blending into the background. Ji-hoon's double was playing his role perfectly, the man who looked enough like him from a distance to fool people who didn't know him intimately. But Zara knew the real Ji-hoon was somewhere in the shadows, watching, waiting for Hye-jin to reveal herself. The evening progressed like a carefully choreographed dance. Guests arrived bearing expensive gifts, traditional bowing and formalities, speeches about unity and family prosperity. Hye-jin played her part beautifully, the devoted bride-to-be, so honored to be joining such a distinguished family. Zara wanted to vomit. She kept Minji and Daehyun close, both children dressed in traditional Korean hanbok, looking adorable and slightly miserable. They'd been instructed to stay visible, to smile for the guests, but Zara could see the tension in their small shoulders. "It's almost over," she whispered to Minji. "Just a little longer. Then the bad lady will go away. That's the plan, sweetheart." It was during the traditional tea ceremony that things started to unravel. Heejin was supposed to serve tea to Ji-hoon's parents, or rather to the man playing Ji-hoon, but as she knelt, preparing the ceremony with practiced grace, Zara noticed something: the subtle nod Heejin gave to a server across the room, the way that server moved toward where Daehyun stood with his sister. Ice flooded Zara's veins. She moved without thinking, intercepting the server just as he reached for Daehyun's hand. "I'll take the children to get some air." "Miss Lee requested they stay for the ceremony," the server said, his grip on protocol a little too tight. "The children need a break, now." She gathered both kids and moved toward the garden doors, her heart pounding. Behind her, she heard raised voices, Ji-hoon's parents questioning something about the ceremony, Hyejin's laugh sounding strained. They'd barely made it into the garden when Hyejin found them. "Where do you think you're going?" Her voice was pure venom, all pretense dropped. "I need those children inside, particularly the boy. They needed air. What they need is to do as they're told." Hyejin grabbed for Daehyun's arm. "You've been a problem from the start, Maid, always interfering. But after tonight, you'll be gone, and these brats will finally learn their place. Let him go." Zara's voice was deadly calm. "Or what? You'll stop me?" Hyejin laughed. "You're nothing. A servant. A black girl playing house with children who aren't hers. Did you really think—" "That's enough." Ji-hoon stepped out of the shadows and the transformation was complete. Gone was any trace of the humble gardener Jin. This was Park Ji-hoon, mafia boss, and the look on his face would have made lesser people run. Hyejin's eyes went wide. "You're supposed to be inside. I just saw you. You saw what I wanted you to see." His voice could have cut glass. "Just like I've seen everything you've been doing for the past month. Every meeting with my rivals. Every plan to take my son and use him as leverage. Every time you've hurt my children. I don't know what lies this maid has been telling you. I'm not talking about Zara. I'm talking about me. I've been here, Hyejin, watching, waiting for you to reveal exactly who you are." He pulled out his phone, pressed a button, and suddenly the garden's hidden speakers came alive with audio. Hyejin's voice, crystal clear, discussing how to eliminate the obstacles to her power, how to position herself to take control of both families' operations. The blood drained from Hyejin's face. "Our families are inside right now, listening to this," Ji-hoon continued, his voice never rising but somehow more terrifying for its control. "Your father just disowned you. My parents have already nullified our engagement, and representatives from every organization you tried to betray are very interested in having a conversation with you. You can't do this. I have protection, agreements. You had agreements. Now you have nothing." He moved to stand beside Zara and the children, his presence a wall of protection. "You will leave my property. You will leave this city. And if you ever come near my children again, there will not be enough of you left for your family to bury. Do you understand me?" Hyejin looked at them, at Ji-hoon with his lethal calm, at Zara standing protectively over Minji and Daehyun, at the children themselves watching her with a mixture of fear and relief. "This isn't over," she hissed. "Yes," Ji-hoon said coldly. "It is. Security will escort you out." As if summoned, two large men in suits appeared. Hyejin was led away, still sputtering threats that everyone knew were empty. When she was gone, Ji-hoon knelt in front of his children. "It's over. She can't hurt you anymore, I promise." "Daddy?" Daehyun's voice was small. "Was Jin really you the whole time?" "Yes, buddy, I'm sorry I had to lie. But you saved us." Minji threw her arms around her father's neck. "You and Zara saved us." Ji-hoon looked up at Zara over his daughter's head, and the emotion in his eyes made her breath catch. "Later," he mouthed. Later they would talk. Later they would figure out what came next. For now they had to deal with the fallout of a very public family scandal. The aftermath of the engagement party was simultaneously exhausting and exhilarating. Ji-hoon had spent hours in meetings with both families' councils, explaining his deception, providing evidence of Hyejin's betrayal, managing the political fallout. Zara had stayed with the children, keeping them calm and distracted while their world shifted yet again. It was late, past midnight, when Ji-hoon finally knocked on her door. "They're asleep," Zara said, letting him in. "Minji had some nightmares, but Daehyun conked out immediately. The resilience of children, or the relief of safety? Ji-hoon looked exhausted, his tie loosened, his hair disheveled from running his hands through it. It's done. Hyejin is gone. Her family has cut all ties. My rivals know what happens to people who try to use my children as leverage. Good, good. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. I almost lost them, Zara. If you hadn't been there tonight, if you hadn't kept them safe, but I was, and they're fine. Because of you. He moved closer, his hands coming up to frame her face. You could have walked away at any point, when you discovered who I really was, when you understood the danger, but you stayed. Why? Zara covered his hands with hers. Because I fell in love with a gardener who quoted poetry and played with children, and then I fell in love with a father who would burn the world down to keep his kids safe. They're the same person, both parts of you, and I love all of it. Even knowing what I do, what I am. You're not just a criminal, Ji-hoon. You're a man trying to protect his family in a complicated world. You're someone who loves deeply and fights fiercely. She stopped, emotion clogging her throat. You're someone worth loving. He kissed her then, and it was different from their first kiss in the garden. This one held promise, future, the weight of everything they'd been through and everything they could be. When they broke apart, Ji-hoon rested his forehead against hers. Marry me. Zara pulled back, startled. What? I know it's fast. I know we should probably date first, do things properly. But I'm tired of proper. I'm tired of waiting for happiness. I almost lost my children this week, and I realized life is too short and too dangerous to waste time on should-haves and maybes. His thumbs stroked her cheeks gently. I love you. My children love you. You've already become part of this family, so marry me. Be their mother, be my wife, be the thing that makes this house a home. Ji-hoon, if it's too fast, tell me. I'll wait. I'll court you for months, years, if that's what you need. But I need you to know that this is where I'm heading. This is what I want. You, us. A real family. Zara thought about her mother, who'd always told her that when you know, you know. She thought about Minji's prayers for a new mom, about Dae-hyun's trust, about the way Ji-hoon looked at her like she was the answer to questions he'd stopped asking. My mama used to say that love isn't about time, it's about truth, she said softly. And the truth is, I can't imagine being anywhere but here. With you, with them, so yes, I'll marry you. The smile that broke across Ji-hoon's face was pure joy. He kissed her again, deeper this time, and Zara felt the last of her reservations melt away. There's something you should know, Ji-hoon murmured against her lips. I'm going to step back from certain aspects of the business. Not completely. I can't just walk away from who I am, but I want to be more present for the kids, for you. I want to be the father and husband you all deserve. That's all I've ever wanted, just you, present, real. You've got me, all of me, the good, the bad, and the complicated. He pulled her closer. Move into the master bedroom with me, not as a maid, not as an employee, as my fiancée, as the woman I love. What will people think? I don't care what people think. I care what my children think, and I care what you think. I think, Zara said, smiling, that I need to give my notice as a maid. Fired for fraternizing with the boss? More like promoted to a much better position. They talked for hours about their pasts, their hopes, the logistics of blending their lives. Ji-hoon told her more about Hana, about his guilt over her death, about his fear of failing his children again. Zara told him about her mother's long illness, about the loneliness of being truly alone in the world, about finding family in unexpected places. You're not alone anymore, Ji-hoon promised. You have us. Always. The next morning, Zara woke in her own bed, but with a diamond ring on her finger. Ji-hoon had slipped it on while she dozed, a traditional Korean design that somehow felt perfect. She found the children at breakfast, both of them taking one look at her face and immediately knowing something had changed. Are you happy, Zara? Minji asked carefully. So happy, sweetheart. Good, because Daddy's happy too. We can tell. The 8-year-old glanced at her little brother, then back at Zara. If you and Daddy get married, does that mean you'll stay forever? That's exactly what it means. Dae-hyun launched himself at her, wrapping small arms around her waist. I knew it. I knew you'd be our new mom. Is that okay with you guys? Really? Minji nodded seriously. Our first mum would have liked you. She wanted us to be happy. And you make us happy. You make Daddy happy too. Ji-hoon appeared in the doorway, watching them with an expression of such profound contentment that Zara felt tears prick her eyes. Family meeting, he announced, coming to join them at the table. We need to discuss some changes. The children looked worried until Zara took Ji-hoon's hand, showing them the ring. Really? Minji's shriek could probably be heard in the next county. You're getting married? We are, Ji-hoon confirmed, which means Zara's going to officially be your mum. If that's okay with you both. Yes, Dae-hyun was literally bouncing. Can we call you mum now? Can we? Can we? Zara looked at Ji-hoon, who nodded encouragingly, then back at the children. If you want to, yes, I would be honored. Mum, Minji tried out the word, smiling. Yeah, that sounds right. The rest of the morning was a blur of excitement. The children planning the wedding. Dae-hyun wanted dinosaurs. Minji wanted something princessy. Discussing what Zara's official role in the household would be. Celebrating their new family configuration. It wasn't until later, when the children were occupied with drawing pictures of their new family, that Ji-hoon pulled Zara aside. There's one more thing, he said. Something I want you to have. He led her to his office, to a wall safe she'd never noticed before. Inside were documents, but he pulled out a small jewelry box. This was Hana's, he said, opening it to reveal a delicate jade bracelet. Before she died, she made me promise that if I ever found love again, if I ever found someone who would love our children the way she did, I should give them this. It's a family heirloom. It means acceptance, welcome, home. Zara's hands shook as he fastened it around her wrist. Ji-hoon, I can't. You should. Hana would have loved you. His voice was thick with emotion. You've given my children back their joy. You've given me back my heart. This is yours. You're ours. She kissed him then, tasting salt from tears. Hers or his, she wasn't sure. I love you. I love all of you so much. We love you too. Welcome home, Zara. And standing there in his arms, with the laughter of children echoing from the next room, Zara finally understood what her mother had meant about recognizing home when you find it. This was home. This complicated, beautiful, slightly dangerous family was exactly where she was meant to be. The years had been kind to them. Standing in the garden where she'd first met Jin the gardener, Zara watched her husband teach their daughter, not Minji, but their biological daughter, 3-year-old Hana, how to plant tomatoes. Minji, now 13 and impossibly grown up, was helping Dae-hyun with his homework at the garden table, both of them bickering good-naturedly. You're doing it wrong, Minji insisted. The equation goes like this. You're not my real teacher, Dae-hyun shot back, but he was grinning. At 11, he'd grown into a confident kid who talked constantly and had his father's intensity tempered by Zara's warmth. But I am your real sister, so you have to listen to me. Ji-hoon looked up from the garden, catching Zara's eye, and the smile they shared held years of inside jokes overcome obstacles and deep contentment. He'd kept his promise. He was still involved in the business. Some things couldn't be completely left behind, but he was also present, coaching Dae-hyun's soccer team, attending Minji's dance recitals, being there for dinner every night unless something truly urgent came up. And Zara had built a life that honored both her past and her present. She'd started a non-profit, helping other women in service industries find better opportunities using the Park family's resources to make real change. She was a mother, a wife, and her own person, all at once. Mom, Minji called. Can we have those cookies you made? The ones Daddy said we should save for after dinner? Zara asked, raising an eyebrow. Daddy's a spoil sport, Dae-hyun declared, making Ji-hoon laugh. Daddy's standing right here, Ji-hoon said. And Daddy says 1 cookie each before dinner. Don't push your luck. As the older kids raced inside, Hana toddled over to Zara, dirt on her hands and joy on her face. Mama, look! I grew it! You did, baby. Good job. Ji-hoon came to stand beside them, slipping an arm around Zara's waist, pressing a kiss to her temple. Happy, deliriously, she leaned into him. You? More than I ever thought possible. He watched his children through the window, then looked down at his wife. Thank you. For what? For staying, for loving us, for turning a house full of fear into a home full of laughter. His voice dropped. For saving me, just as much as I saved you. Zara turned in his arms, cupping his face with her hands. We saved each other. That's what love does. Nobody touches what's mine. Dae-hyun's voice suddenly bellowed from inside, followed by Minji's laughter. Ji-hoon groaned. Is he watching those old action movies again? Your son has a flair for drama. Wonder where he gets that from. From his mother, obviously. I'm very subdued and low-key. Zara burst out laughing. Says the man who went undercover as a gardener in his own house. That was strategy, not drama. Keep telling yourself that. She kissed him softly. Come on, let's go referee the cookie situation before Dae-hyun stages a heist. As they walked toward the house, their home, their sanctuary, Hannah between them holding both their hands, Zara thought about that first day she'd walked through these gates. How scared she'd been. How uncertain. She'd come here as a maid looking for a paycheck. She'd left that woman behind and become something better. A mother, a wife, a partner to a complicated man, building a better legacy. Behind them, the garden bloomed in the late afternoon sun, a testament to careful tending and patient growth, just like their family, just like their love. And in the house ahead, laughter and life and the beautiful chaos of home waited for them, exactly as it should be.